I'm doing it for the show. Field of 68 till I die.
This is the Field of 68 After Dark Show, the only place that you need to be for college hoops every single night.
Off we go on the Field of 68 After Dark on this Tuesday night, March the 15th, 2022. March Madness is underway. It's the hors d'oeuvres of the tournament. The first four getting started tonight in Dayton. We will get to that in just a few moments. I've got Kevin Sweeney. I've got Steve Prohm here tonight. So we've got the coaching perspective. We've got Sweeney, who's got the best headshot on the Field of 68 media network there is. We might get to that in the afters. I'm John Fanta, your host. We're on Sirius XM Channel 84. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. And I'll tell you what, guys, what do I love about this first four? It's when a school like Texas Southern can have the night that they had, winning their second first four game in as many years. And the name of the night for Texas Southern, who was a star tonight, Bryson Etienne, who leads them to a 76-67 win. And Texas Southern is on to play Kansas down in Fort Worth. It's beautiful, Coach Prohm, when you get these programs who don't always get the level of publicity of the programs that we talk a lot about on these shows. Love to see the littler guys get the national love.
Yeah, without question. And Johnny Jones has done a terrific job down there at Texas Southern. He's taken other teams, obviously North Texas, to the NCAA tournament as well, from the mid-major ranks. But terrific experience, especially for those kids. This is their day, really the last 2 days. When they get to Dayton yesterday, they played a day, and now they're jumping on a flight to Texas to go get ready for Bill Self and the Kansas Jayhawks and Ochai Agbaji. Coaches are probably watching tape on the plane. Players are sleeping, listening to their iPods, the phone, the radio in their ears and all that. And so I just think it's an unbelievable experience. I think Dayton's a great city for the first four, and I love how they showcase them in those early games. And then tomorrow night it's Wright State and Bryant. But hats off to Steve Lutz, a really great finish to his first year at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, getting into the NCAA tournament. But congrats to Texas Southern and Johnny Jones.
Dayton's an awesome basketball city. I think it's one of the places. I think it's great that they've never taken the first four out of there, because I think it's one of the places that, the players get a welcome from the fan. People in Dayton have no reason to know anyone on Texas Southern or anyone on Texas A&M Corpus Christi, but they will come out and support because they love college basketball and they love supporting these teams that had great years and get an opportunity to play on a national stage. And I think it's awesome. And, this was a fun game, kind of, back and forth. Corpus Christi made a push there, but, Texas Southern finished really strong, and kudos to those guys. They get a chance to keep their season alive for a couple more days and get a crack at a 1 seed. You never know.
Yeah, and they now they get the full effect of another 2 days of the tournament. And obviously you're probably picking Kansas, but they've won 14 out of 16. They've won 5 in a row. And, what's also cool too, and I think I saw a tweet earlier today or yesterday, Johnny Jones is doing it with his son as a player there. And how cool is that? You and your son traveling, playing the NCAA tournament together. And there's a couple other scenarios. Tyler Underwood's coaching with Brad up there at Illinois, and that's got to be really, really fun.
It really is. That's what this time of year is all about. And I thought that Texas Southern, just down the stretch, was better defensively to close out this win. So now they get on a plane. The plane is waiting for them. This is life in the NCAA tournament. You're going to fly down to Fort Worth, and now you got to take on the 1-seeded Kansas Jayhawks. And it bears noting that in the last 24 hours, there's been news. Nico Medved of Colorado State telling CBSSports.com's Matt Norlander last night that they weren't even sure when they were going to fly today. Luckily, some tweets sparked someone up out of bed to make these arrangements and make things happen, and Colorado State gets to where they need to be. But it bears noting, this isn't the only thing that's happening in terms of travel in the NCAA tournament. In fact, this isn't even the first time. So, Coach Prohm, you've been to the tournament. You've dealt with these circumstances. What's your perspective or story on the travel of March Madness?
Well, obviously the situation with Colorado State's unfortunate. And it's really, and I was telling you guys this off air. It's not so much. It is. I understand. It is from a hey, winning or losing. If they're getting there at a certain time, or it puts a strain on preparation or whatever it may be. But the hard part and the most important part is, man, I was telling you, I've been a lower seed and you hit a buzzer beater. I've been upset in the first round. You've been the underdog where people pull for. The experience for those kids in the NCAA tournament, when you go into that media room and you drinking that Powerade, I told you, like the Powerade, it just tastes better in those back rooms in the NCAA tournament. It doesn't taste as good when you get it from Quick Stop, or the 7-Eleven, and so the experience for those kids needs to be first class from the time you jump on that charter bus to go to your charter plane to where you land to where you go to your hotel. The experience for those kids, especially because it's a one-shot deal. You are not guaranteed another trip back to the NCAA tournament. You can think you are, and you can get close, but you see so many teams, you sit on the bubble, and then you don't get in. And then another year goes by, and so like I told you off air, if I'm fortunate to get back there here soon, I'm gonna that Powerade. I'm gonna sit back in that room for a long time and drink that Powerade for a long time.
Well, hold on a second now. Sweeney, were you getting a phone call just now?
I was getting a phone call.
Who's calling you right now?
I'm not going to name names, but it was an assistant coach that is currently playing in the NCAA tournament, so we'll give him a pass. Not like on the court right now, but they are still in the field. They are one of the field of 68. So,
you've got a story. You've got a story cooking. You're in mode right now.
They get a pass. I will say, Norlander mentioned the Colorado State experience. They're not the only team that has dealt with some travel issues.
Right.
There are other teams that have went through delayed flights. Teams that didn't have, teams that are supposedly Friday, so they're expected to leave tomorrow, who as of 5 p.m. today didn't have itineraries, didn't know when they were supposed to leave. There was a situation. I won't name the schools here, but there was a situation where, apologies for the sirens, I don't know what the heck is
Chicago
going on
Fire is out tonight.
It's unbelievable.
My goodness.
I'm having a rough go of it here, but I won't name the schools, but there was a situation where two schools were told the exact same place to go practice, and the only reason they found out was they were they're friends. They have staff guys who are friends with each other, and they asked where each other were practicing, and they were practicing at the same place, and so they figured it out and texted the NCAA and figured it out that one of them had been told the wrong place. Like, there's been a lot of like really bad coordination stuff so far in the first couple of days, and it's not just the Colorado State thing. So I think it's frustrating. I mean, this is a $1 billion enterprise. I mean, this is a massive event. Like how does this happen?
I told you guys this off air. Be the assistant coach that takes your head coach to the wrong practice time or the wrong practice gym. And that whole NCAA tournament experience, you better hope you get to the Sweet 16 because, there's no question he's going to be furious. And that is unfortunate, because I said it's about the experience. And obviously there's going to be a national champion and there's so many great moments along the way. But, man, there's nothing like the NCAA tournament. If you've been a part of it in any form or fashion, man, it is the best thing going amidst any sport.
It needs to be preserved. Let's face it here. Colorado State has their trips all throughout the season mapped out in October. They know what they're doing. They know where they're going. They know what flights they're taking and what hotel they're heading to. You know this, coach. Your administrator handles all this stuff. They make up the itinerary. You get the big document. I've done radio for teams. They send out the big document of where, when, how, what. The fact of the matter is this. If it's that difficult for the NCAA to arrange travel, then at that point, put it back in the administrator's hands. Let them handle what they need to do and bill it back to the association, which has unlimited dollars. Because if you can't figure it out, you're the NCAA. You have a Scrooge McDuck pool of golden coins. Okay? Let's simplify this. Administrators already have a role in mapping out your travel because they do it in association with the NCAA. Just give it to the people who do this for a living day in and day out at the respective school. This, to me, there's a disconnect here. There's a disconnect because the fact is I don't care whether it's pilots or planes or I heard about a pilot shortage. Look, your team needs to get from point A to point B. And when you're going to bed and you're flying the next day and you don't know what time you're flying at, you got a family, you got other stuff going on in life. And of course, basketball is the focus. This was not acceptable. And the NCAA knows that. They hold themselves to a high standard. They need to act like it.
Yeah, and the thing about it, and Nico's one heck of a coach and done a phenomenal job. You better hope it's the right coach it happens to, because of just the dynamics within, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Of how that trip's going to go. That's the biggest thing, that you got to be able to handle the adversity the right way, because they do have a game on Thursday against Michigan, Indianapolis, in a Big Ten country, and they're the favorite. And, you know, I think they'll still respond because it's this time of year. But you want the planes to be first class. You want the hotels. And if you can't do that, then move on to the next person that can, because it's a blessing to be in the tournament, and you can't take it for granted. And everybody needs to be first class.
Someone's calling Kevin again.
Another coach from a different NCAA tournament staff.
John, I'm impressed. You know someone's calling him. Like, how
I know. I've got a read on it, Coach, and I think it's a girl.
It's not a woman.
I think somebody's looking for.
Hopefully he's not married. That'd be really you'd be breaking something here on the news that we.
Sweeney, are you married?
I am not married. Singles.
All right.
Singles.
All right, it's okay then.
All right. Okay. Put your Torvik away, sir. Okay. All right. Field of 68 after dark. Here, first four. You never know what's going to happen here. I've seen it now twice here. Sweeney's phone is ringing away, which means March Madness is here. Hey, Indiana and Wyoming right now. Live scoring update. Indiana up 49-44 on Wyoming. Just over 7 minutes left. Sweeney, your biggest takeaway from this game?
If you like dribbles into post steps, it's the game for you, my friends. I mean, this is what they do. I mean, this is what Wyoming's done all year. It's the reason why they're in the NCAA tournament. I think Jeff Linder is one of the best coaches in college basketball at adapting the way he plays to his personnel. I mean, if you think back to the Northern Colorado team that he had, he built a top 75 team there, which is really hard to do. That was all, pick and roll with their great point guard. I think it was Jordan Davis. Now then he goes to Wyoming, and last year they were kind of a pick and roll team with the kid Marcus Williams. Okay, well now Marcus Williams leaves, and now we don't have a dynamic pick and roll guy. So let's use our two kind of skilled forwards who can play in the post and use those guys. And they've been tremendous. Maldonado and Ike, and they've kind of helped Wyoming hang around in this ball game. So obviously Indiana came in playing tremendous basketball. I saw them last week at the Big Ten tournament, and the way that Xavier Johnson was playing made me think that Indiana could win not just this game, but really make a push in this tournament. So I've been impressed with the resolve from Wyoming in this game. And again, a lot of that's just Ike and Maldonado. They've combined for, I think, 30 points so far. They're one of the highest scoring duos in the country. But they're going to need to make a late push here to get over the hump and finish it. But they're right there at the U8.
Yeah, Trace Jackson Davis has been terrific, obviously, for Indiana. They keep, it's kind of those tournament games. They keep getting up 8, cut it back down to 4. They keep getting back up to 8, back down to 4. They can't, quite yet pull away Indiana. Fortunately, Indiana obviously is not shooting the ball great from the free throw line, from the 3-point line in the field. Fortunately, they're turning Wyoming over, and they are really, really winning the battle of the glass, which you got to do, in a possession game. But this one looks like it's headed down the last couple minutes. But I'm like with Kevin, I think Indiana can win tonight, and I think they can go on and beat St. Mary's, and have a chance to win a couple games.
But Trace Jackson Davis was in mode in that first half, just willing them time and again. And thought it was interesting on the broadcast. They were talking about the fact that, hey, last 5 minutes of the game, will these two teams go one-on-one coverage with the stars, meaning TJD and meaning Hunter Maldonado. Now, Maldonado struggled with turnovers mightily. He was trying to do too much. I actually thought Wyoming was fortunate to only be down 5 at the break, and now they're in a position. They've put themselves in a position. This is a big finish here. The Big Ten had a bad tournament last year. The Mountain West is trying to prove itself. This is a tone setter for these leagues. No question. 2 games, Big Ten versus Mountain West. I text somebody earlier today. Mountain West needs to win one of these 2, for the future. You know what I mean? Just so when you have that
hey, we're looking at these bubble, net, RPI, strength of schedule. Hey, no, Mountain West, man, they've proven it. I mean, you got 9 Big Ten teams in most of any conference. They got to prove it too. They got to deliver as well. And so we'll see what happens. But I like Indiana. If they can get by this one tonight, I think they get by St. Mary's, and I think they can get by the winner of the UCLA Akron game and get to the second weekend.
And they have a confidence about them right now that they haven't had, I think, all year. They're playing with a tremendous kind of, composure and I think a belief in themselves that they didn't really have in February.
Yeah, no question. You can hear it. I heard Mike Woodson interview today, and you could hear it in the way he talked. They expect to win, and that's why Wyoming will come back, probably win at the buzzer here tonight and mess all this up.
All right, coming up next here on After Dark, I go one-on-one with UAB star guard Jordan Jelly Walker. This is one of the more powerful interviews that we have done on the Field of 68 Media Network. You do not want to miss this conversation. The Blazers are taking on Houston in the NCAA Tournament in their first round game. But this story, Jordan Walker's story, goes beyond basketball, how he fell back in love with the game and his journey to UAB to begin with. That's up next here on the Field of 68 After Dark.
And you're clear.
All right. So down the stretch we come here between Indiana and Wyoming. We're also going to talk tonight. Well, and is the chat open, Dagan? Do we have any questions from anybody?
Yeah, there's a few questions in here. Joey wants this one's for Coach Prohm. What is your best off-court March Madness story that you can tell?
The best off-court.
Don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Man, off the court. I don't. So many you think about on the court when you just having it, off the top of your head. I tell you one situation, and this wasn't the best, but this is a memory I'll never forget. In 2010, when I was an assistant at Murray State, one of our walk-ons, parent got killed in a accident, a highway accident. A truck hit him, and I had to go over to the dorm and get him and let him know. And it was surreal to where he traveled with us out to San Jose, and it was the year Murray State beat Vanderbilt in the 13-4 game.
Wow. And
he literally stayed on our bench, finished that game, and then took off and flew home for the funeral. But his name was Picasso Simmons, and I'll never forget that. Just, as a coach, your job at the end of the day is to win games, but it's to be there, and it's to see teams come together. And that's probably the most off the court emotional moment that I can remember, off the bat.
Deep into the night we go. Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM Channel 84, YouTube and Twitter. We're presented tonight by Bet Rivers. As always, get your picks into Bet Rivers. We're also presented by Bracket Fanatics. More info to come on our Bracket Fanatics pool. A great opportunity for you to get your picks in, and it's even better than all those other pools that you play. We'll tell you why to come. John Fanta, the coach Steve Prohm, Kevin Sweeney with you here. It's first four, night one. Indiana and Wyoming are going right down to the wire. Gentlemen, when you take a look at the bracket here and the potential of the 12 over the 5, the 13 over the 4, I'll ask you specifically on those two lines. Where are you going? Who's that 12 or who's that 13 that you have the most confidence in right now?
I really like UAB. I think, first off, I think they're probably the most talented of the 12-5s. I mean, look, this is a team that starts 5 transfers. They're older guys. They I think they start 3 guys who are older than me, which, I'm not the oldest guy, but I'm still out of college. So, I mean, that tells you enough. Like, I think, the experience level for them really helps. They have the best guard on the floor in Jelly Walker. I think that helps. And Houston has not been great this year against top competition. I mean, look, if you look in the games they've played, they're, against top 50 teams. They played 5 of those games. They're 1-4. So I think, as tough as they are to play against, as good a job as Kelvin Sampson has done this year with, the injuries they've had to navigate, and obviously even, dating back to the offseason, having to navigate losing Grimes and losing Giroux. Like, at the end of the day, like I just think this feels a lot more even than, a 12-5 matchup. This feels this feels more to me in terms of, it feels like a 50-50 game. I mean, it really does. I think UAB has a real chance to go win it. And I have them penciled in right now in my bracket to advance to the second round.
Well, if you look back to the preseason, though, Andy Kennedy and UAB's team, I mean, they were the team supposed to come out of Conference USA. Now, they didn't win the regular season title. North Texas won their side, won the overall title. And then Middle Tennessee, they did a great job this year, bouncing back and winning their side. So, yeah, I think that's for late. We're going to talk about something for later, the one pick that you kind of everybody's picking, but you're kind of going against it. Boy, it's hard for me to pick against Kelvin Sampson. I understand the points with UAB, but I just think they're so proven and they're so tough. And beating Memphis in that championship game, that said something to me. But, it's hard. When I really like this Indiana team, because when I look at, who's going to make this sleeper run, to me, it's got to be in that 11, 12, 13 area. And so, I would stick with Indiana. So hopefully they can get through tonight here by the end of our show and they can win. But I like them because I think they're capable of beating St. Mary's if they can get by. And I think they can beat the winner of the UCLA Akron game. I think they'll have a chance to do that if they can get by. But if I had to pick one, Vermont, can it be reminiscent of the time where they beat Jimmy Boeheim in Syracuse, back years back. Vermont's a confident team and coach has done an amazing job up there for a long, long time.
Well, an 11 seed has reached the Sweet 16, 9 of the last 11 tournaments. So that proves your logic there on the 11 line of what can happen. But could UAB wear a Cinderella slipper? Well, if they're wearing one, it's because Jordan Jelly Walker is leading this team. This kid is averaging over 20 points per game this season. He is a dynamic scorer. And earlier today, I got to catch up with him. You never know what an interview conversation can turn into. And this is a prime, powerful example of just that. It is great to be joined by the star of the UAB Blazers, the Conference USA champions, Jordan Jelly Walker. Jordan and the Blazers will be in action against Houston in a 5-12 game in the South region Friday night. And Jordan, it is great to have you with us here on Field of 68 After Dark. First and foremost, why should America, as you hold up that Blazers logo, why should America believe in you and the Blazers?
I mean, I keep saying it. We're just not afraid of anyone. I feel like we played a lot of tough games this year, and I don't think people give Conference USA as much credit as they should. I think there's a lot of great teams in this league and a lot of great players. And yeah, I guess we're considered a mid-major team and a mid-major conference, but this conference is very challenging and it's not easy, And as for, like I said before, we're just not scared of anybody, And like we've lost a couple tough games in the beginning of the year, but we were new, But I feel like our chemistry's grown, We've meshed more together. I definitely understand the offense way more than I did in the beginning of the year, And me and AK even became closer throughout the year. And it's just, I feel like we got a lot of great pieces, and we got a lot of veteran guys who know what it takes. And maybe they might have went to the NCAA tournament, especially like including myself, but we know what it takes to win, and we know, and we've been in a bunch of games where we had to grind it out at the end. And that's what you need when it comes to March, what I'm saying? And me watching March Madness, I feel like that's what you need in order to win those games. You got to have guys who know how to grind out games, and I feel like that's what we're able to do.
You said AK, that's your head coach, Andy Kennedy. And earlier this season, you put up 42 to break his record in a single game at UAB. What did he say to you after that?
He said, "I'm so proud of you, so proud of you." And that's all he really said, because he didn't know I broke. He actually tried to sub me out. But I guess he heard like the fans and everyone cheering for me and yelling "Jelly, Jelly." So I guess he realized like, oh, he's about to beat the record. So I kept me in, and then eventually subbed me out the next possession. But he just said he's super proud of me and he loves what I'm doing, and I just got to keep getting better. That's all.
March Madness is a time for terrific stories, and we
Yeah.
get to hear about your journey and
Yeah.
who you play for.
Yeah.
Jordan, what's your why?
My older brother, he was murdered in 2016 in November, and that still hurts me every day, and it shook my family tremendously, especially my mother, and she's definitely a big, probably another reason like of my why, and it messed her up. It messed her up a lot. And there's days where she's okay, and then there's days where she's really not okay, and that was her firstborn son, and that was our older brother, and he was more like a father figure to us rather than just an older brother, and when we lost him, it messed me up too. I didn't really want to play basketball anymore. I didn't want to do anything, and I don't really talk about it as much because like it's not something I really like to think about, but I'm stuck with it every day. Some days it's easier than others. But that's probably my biggest why is just my family and losing my older brother. And then right after that, losing my grandmother on my dad's side. And right after that, losing my grandma on my mom's side. And literally back to back to back. Those 3 years from being at Seton Hall to Tulane, then Tulane again, those years hurt me. And I was depressed for a long time, And a lot of people didn't know because that's not the type of person I am. I'm always walking around with a smile on my face. And I feel like that even when I was at Seton Hall, when I was in the cast, just always smiling. And I try to be like that light in the room, but people don't really understand the darkness that I have sometimes going on in my life, and I'm not asking nobody to understand, and I'm not asking nobody to have no sympathy for me because I know at the end of the day, I got to keep living and keep pushing forward. But that's my why, like my family and the people who love me, the people who've been there for me, because they've been there through my darkest times. Like they've been there when people doubted me. And like I said, and people didn't think I was good enough, even when I was younger. And they've always been in my ear telling me that you are good enough, that you are better than those kids, and that you are going to do something special, and that you can make it, and that's my why. That's definitely my why.
Well, I really appreciate you opening up, and it just, I think you're such an inspiration now to so many people here that you can work through this type of stuff, because what you've gone through, you've been through hell and back.
Oh man, people have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah.
And how much stronger are you now?
I'm grateful for all the things I've been through because I think it's made me tremendously stronger, not just physically, but more so mentally and emotionally. And I feel like that's why I've been able to become the player I am today, because it's not the work ethic, because basketball wise, physically, I'm always in the gym. I've been in the gym since I was young, and that's the one thing I've loved. I've always loved being in the gym. I've always loved working on my game. But it's the mental part. It's the mental part that I really grew up on, being able to, like AK taught me when I first got here, next play mentality, and not just on the court, but off the court too, where things happen in your life and everything is not always going to go good, and that happens for everyone in life, everything's not always going to go good. And you have to have that next play mentality. You have to wake up that next day and understand that I got to keep pushing forward, because the past is the past. And the future, you don't know what it holds, you know what I'm saying? And you just got to continue living the present. And that's what Miles Powell definitely taught me more so than he always taught me. He said, never get too high and never get too low. Stay even. Just live in the present. He said, just enjoy the moment. And he's been telling me that since I've met him, and that's what I focus on. And so I would definitely say mentally and emotionally, I definitely became insanely stronger,
I appreciate you, Jelly, and thanks for opening up on that. And you are stronger because of it. Hey, you're on the dance floor.
Yes, sir.
You're on the big dance floor. Tell us right now what the message to your teammates is going to be here ahead of this matchup with Houston Friday night. It's in Pittsburgh, a chance here to make a statement to the world.
Well, we was talking about it even in the Conference USA tournament. We say it all the time, leave everything out on the floor. Everything. Play as hard as you possibly can. Don't worry about the missed shots. Don't worry about the make shots. Don't worry about if you mess up, you turn the ball over, if someone goes by you. It's not about that. It's about playing as hard as you possibly can. Because me personally, I know Houston, and that's what they do. And that's what Kevin Sampson, he's a great coach. Credits to him and his Houston program. But they play hard. They play hard, and they play hard every single possession. And if they don't, that's the only thing they really get in trouble for. They don't get in trouble for really making mistakes. They get in trouble for not playing hard. And that's, if there's one thing they're going to do, they're going to play hard. So what I tell them is play as hard as you possibly can, as hard as you can, and leave everything else up to chance. You know what I'm saying? If it's destiny, it's destiny,
We'll see if that destiny can come true on Friday night. When UAB meets Houston, it's a 5-12 game in the South. It's in Pittsburgh. It's at 9:20 Eastern time, 8:20 Central on TNT. Jordan Walker, best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you.
We thank Jordan Walker and UAB for the time earlier today. We are going to take a timeout and be back with more after this. Still to come, it's Rutgers star Ron Harper Jr. named an All-American honorable mention by the AP earlier today, and these guys will give their updated Final Four picks and much more. This is Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM, Channel 84.
And you're clear.
All right, what do we got right now? Indiana, Wyoming, thoughts?
It's too many turnovers. It's
They're going to have 20 turnovers. They doubled the turnovers in the glass.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maldo
plus
has 10 on his own. Maldo has 10 turnovers on his own.
Yeah. Yep.
And Indiana's not even shooting it great, or they'd be up 15.
They're not a great shooting team generally, man. I mean, it's just, they miss a lot of good shots. I mean, the Galloway and Kopp, those guys are good shooters by billing, but they just haven't made them this year. And I think it's the one thing that holds them back.
If not for Geronimo tonight, and he's done a good job on the offensive glass. I mean, offensively, after Jackson Davis, they've been pretty poor. If they didn't have Geronimo, they'd be really lost. That backcourt just doesn't do enough for me.
Right. That's the thing.
It'll do enough to beat St. Mary. It'll do enough to win another game. I think. No, I think Indiana's confident right now.
100%.
Are we gonna follow up any more on that interview? Or are we done with?
We will. Yeah, if you're okay with that.
Well, just because I'm listening to that, and I'm just like, damn.
Yeah. We had to get to break, obviously. For those that are watching, we get to break for Sirius, but we will react to it right now. Yep.
I wrote 4 or 5 things down. We could talk the next 30 minutes about just things he just,
Yep.
5 seconds.
Yes.
Here you go.
Field 68 After Dark, presented by Bet Rivers and Bracket Fanatics. Hey, let's tell you about Bracket Fanatics, our pool that we've got going on, folks. We are running a Field of 68 pool over at bracketfanatics.com, the best website to host an NCAA tournament pool for you and your friends, providing a bracket experience unlike any other. Bracket Fanatics is similar to Yahoo and ESPN. You can invite friends, make picks, you watch those picks, then go up in flames. But what makes Bracket Fanatics different is that they eliminate the hardest part of running a pool, the payouts. Everyone that joins your pool must pay an entry on the site itself. Once the NCAA tournament ends, Bracket Fanatics handles the payouts for you based on whatever parameters you set. You don't have to worry about chasing down Jeff Goodman or Kevin Sweeney to make sure that they paid their buy-in. And you can make side bets all tournament long, because who doesn't love a good side bet? Your bracket may have been busted, but you can make it all back once Larry from accounting gets a little too overconfident. So head on over to bracketfanatics.com and join the Field of 68's bracket group. It's free to enter, and make sure you pool on Bracket Fanatics for the absolute best March Madness experience. Sign up today. All right, welcome back to After Dark, Sirius XM Channel 84. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. Coach Prohm, in the break, we talked a little bit about what we just heard. March is the time for the story. Jordan Jelly Walker will have the world rooting for him this week. This kid has been through hell and back He lost his brother. His brother was murdered, as he said, back in 2016. He loses his grandparents sequentially. His mother's up and down, as any mother who loses a child that young would be. Your reaction to that conversation?
Just listening to it, and I didn't know Jelly Walker. I actually went and watched UAB practice in the fall. And I just, when the interview ended, I just was like, damn, what an impressive kid, what an impressive student athlete, how powerful of a, segment that was, and the things that he's battled and overcome. And there's a quote, everybody's probably heard it because it's been popular of late, be curious, not judgmental. You just don't know what anybody's going through. And, sitting out this year as a coach and doing this media stuff has been phenomenal for me. And I've had a lot of fun with it. But what you miss, it's when you listen to him talk and you listen to him talk about AK and their relationship and how he's helped them. As a coach sitting here listening to it, that's what you miss, is the impact that you can have on those student athletes and those guys. And that's what the NCAA tournament is. We talked earlier about the travel and different things. It's the experience, man. It's getting up on that podium and it's telling your life story to the country where everybody's enamored and everybody's eyes are locked in. And, this is our time to learn about all these great student athletes and the things that they've overcome, that their families have overcome. The Denver Nuggets, I know he's in the NBA now, but Bones Highland, the story of him and how he survived jumping out of a house, that caught on fire, and the rescuers were at the game in Philly last night and he had a phenomenal game. And, I was picking Houston in that game and I still am, but dang, I'm rooting for UAB. I'm rooting for Jelly Walker and AK and that relationship and the impact that he's had. And he's been at 3 different schools and he's found his way. And the other thing he hit on too, outside of all the important stuff that he talked about, family and the relationships, Conference USA needs more respect. And I'm gonna beat the drum for them for a second. I know we're getting off script here a little bit, but Middle Tennessee's won games, yes. West Kentucky, North Texas, okay, UAB, like what's the difference between them and the Mountain West and the A-10? You know what I mean? And so I don't get it. And I follow this all the time. And
that league is such a grind travel-wise, too. I mean, you're flying from El Paso to Virginia. I mean, the atmospheres are tremendous. It is. There is such good basketball played in that league. You have to be I think the reason why teams have success coming out, even teams that don't win the number 1 seed. I mean, when Middle Tennessee beat Michigan State in the NCAA tournament,
you're used to bad travel. You're used to bad travel.
You're used to bad travel. You're battle tested, man. They weren't the 1 seed, but you're battle tested from going through that, and they were ready to play Michigan State. I mean, this is a really good team. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's a great league. It's a league that deserves more respect. I know everything's changing with realignment. We'll see what it looks like, but I just think, man, like that league deserves respect. Jelly Walker deserves respect. I think the one thing I'll just kind of put my kind of closer on Jelly's thoughts was every kid who's Jelly Walker growing up wants this moment, and despite everything he's gone through, now he gets the chance for everyone to cheer his name and look. He's undersized. He may not play in the NBA. He may not, be a first-round pick. But, man, that kid has a chance to go drop 25 points in the NCAA tournament and have everybody care about who he is for a day. And that is just awesome with what he's been through.
Yep. And he's got the platform to help and impact and make a difference with some other people that are going through those situations that he's faced. And that's what I mean, that stuff, man, it's for me, you want to say you got goosebumps. I mean, it's just like, that's what this is about, man. Forget the travel, forget the wins and losses, man. It's these kids, the experiences they have, man. There's nothing like it, man, at all. And I know we're getting off script, so get us back right, John.
That goes beyond the 2 hours that he'll play Friday night, win or lose, whatever happens. Jordan Jelly Walker, we appreciate his time. We go from one interview to the other, the faces of March. Many know the name Ron Harper for this one's father. Ron Harper Jr., though, has paved the way to turning around the Rutgers men's basketball program. The Scarlet Knights before this year had never been to NCAA tournaments in back-to-back seasons. They now have that for a second time. First four, they just consider it give 40 to get 40 more. Here's that one-on-one with RH. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights are in the first four of the NCAA tournament. Just the second time in program history that the Scarlet Knights are dancing in back-to-back years, and a huge reason for that is Ron Harper Jr. Ron was just named the 11th AP All-American in Rutgers program history, an All-American honorable mention for you, Ron. Thanks for taking the time with us here on Field of 68 After Dark. What's that mean to hear your name and All-American in the same phrase?
It means a lot. When Chris told me, I could have just helped myself and just smile, man. You know, when I first got here, if you told me I'd be on any All-American list, I would have told you to stop lying to me. So it's just a product of me surrounding myself with good people. You know, none of this would ever be possible without my teammates, my coaches, support staff I have here at Rutgers, and my family. All I ever wanted growing up playing basketball was a group of people to believe in me and to trust in me on that court, and I found that here at Rutgers. And, you know, none of this is possible without them. So they get all the credit.
You'll meet Notre Dame Wednesday night for the right to then go to San Diego and take on Alabama in the West region. Before we get to the first four matchup with the Irish, I want to know from you, how many times this season have you heard, oh, this Rutgers basketball season is dead?
So many. I told these guys, you know, don't listen to social media, you know, don't listen to any of that. If we would have listened to all those dudes, we would have stopped playing in December. So me and my guys, we kept getting better as the season went on, and that's what's most important. You know, we bounced back after tough losses, and we kept a level head throughout adversity, throughout wins, through all of that. So I'm just proud of how the guys fought. You know, everybody thought our season was dead a long time ago, and here we are at the big dance.
What's your message to those people now as you get ready for the NCAA tournament?
Just don't count us out. You know, I know a lot of times it looked dark for the season, and it looked like we weren't going to play in any postseason, but this team just kept battling back. So no matter what adversity we face, we're always going to look to bounce back. So just don't count us out.
You've seen it with UCLA last year, Shaka Smart and VCU once upon a time. The first four makes that run, some to a Final Four. How do you view this opportunity? You know, you're not playing Thursday or Friday. You're playing on Wednesday in hopes to then play Friday.
Mm-hmm. We just had to get our foot in the door. You know, that's how I feel about that. Once we heard our name called, we were really relieved. We wanted to play in this tournament. We felt like we deserved to play in this tournament, and we feel like we can play with anybody in the country. I feel like we play in the best league in the country. You know, 9 Big Ten teams in the dance, so that's really impressive. We face a high caliber team night in and night out, so I feel like that league really gets prepared to see everything from other conferences. And me and my guys were real confident. We're just trying to take it one day at a time. Like I said, we just need to get our foot in the door, and we're looking to break it down.
All right, to someone who's never been to Dayton, Ohio, what is it like out there right now?
Dayton's a great little city. You know, the hospitality is great. You know, we had people welcoming us to the hotel. We had people asking for autographs at the open practice. So they really embraced the first four culture here, and that's something to be appreciated. I have no doubt in my mind the game tonight and the game tomorrow are going to be a packed house, even though Dayton isn't playing in the game. So the people out here, they love basketball. I can say that because my father's from Dayton, his side of the family, and, you know, it's just a very basketball-friendly city.
How much family are you going to have at this game?
A lot. You know, I'm expecting a lot of family. You know, it's going to be a lot of tickets, a lot to figure out. But, you know, I'm glad to be back in Dayton. I'm glad to have my family be able to hear and watch me on this stage.
All right, Notre Dame is the opponent. When you started to watch them on film, what's the thing that jutted out to you that you got to be ready for?
They're just a really disciplined team, and they shoot the ball extremely well. So we got to try to limit threes, and we just got to play Rutgers defense like we know. And we got to go out there and be tough. But they're a great team. They have a great coach, so I'm expecting nothing less than a 40-minute dogfight.
All right, I want to know this from you. I don't know if it's somebody in the NBA now, somebody that's playing pro ball somewhere. who are you talking to on a regular basis, or maybe who's someone that's reached out to you at some point in your college career that really spoke to you, Ron, and you're inspired by?
I mean, a lot of people, but if there's a couple people I had to talk about, it'd be some Rutgers greats, Hamadeh and Quincy Doobie. I talked to those guys a lot. I actually met Hamadeh when I was training to come to Rutgers before my senior year, or right after my senior year of high school. And he just told me to just stay positive, stay motivated, and to trust Coach Pike because, he believed in that. And Quincy's been around since I've been a freshman. So every year we kind of touch base. I talk to him before practice when he's here, and he just tells me, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of these guys, but you keep going. You guys have it in you. So those two guys are Rutgers greats right there. The last two guys to get drafted after wearing a Scarlet Knight uniform. So that definitely meant a lot. We just want to keep making them proud.
People around the country say Steve Pikiell's done one of the best building jobs in college basketball. Ron, you've been at the forefront of this. You're inside the facility every day. How has Pikes made it happen?
He's a believer, He has a really good job of getting his vision across all of us and making us believe in that as well. And when I sat down on my own official vision and he talked to me in his office before our new building was built, I felt all of that, everything he was saying. He showed me his track record. Everywhere he's been, he's kind of turned the program around. He's kind of built nothing from something. And everywhere he went, people doubted him. People told him it was an impossible job. And Coach Pike keeps making the impossible possible. But he has so many greater expectations for the school than this group is doing right now, and I just can't wait to see it all unfold. And these guys, it's real easy to get on that train with Coach Pike. He believes in us, and he loves us more than basketball players. He loves us as young men. So it's great to be able to play for a guy like that and to be able to make a guy like that proud.
All right, what's the motto, the message in the Rutgers locker room?
40. 40 gets you 40, that means 40 minutes get you 40 minutes. You can't look too far ahead of the road. You got to look at what's in front of you, and you got to take care of your 40 to get another one.
Ron Harper Jr., congratulations on All-American honorable mention, and good luck against the Irish.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, when we come back, we will break down Indiana's win over Wyoming. The Hoosiers will be in that field of 64, and these guys will give their predictions on the Madness. That's next. Field of 68 After Dark. Sirius XM, Channel 84.
You're clear.
All right, jumping in here with a question.
What do you got tonight? Here we go.
Let's see. Aaron Anderson wants to know. And I don't know if this is a thing that's supposed to be happening, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
I saw the question. Are you kidding me? Do not ask this. You are starting a fire.
Now I need to know what the question is.
The question is, let's say Calipari retires at the end of the season.
Oh, my
God. If you're Kentucky, do you call Brad Stevens?
Now, the real question would be, what would happen if Kentucky wanted Kenny Payne and Kenny Payne would already taken Louisville? Yes, you call Brad Stevens, but I'm actually more curious about the secondary question. Would Kenny Payne leave his alma mater to go replace Cal at Kentucky?
No.
He's huge to what they've built. I mean, he was Cal's right-hand man through this whole build.
Coach, we can't talk about this right now. Calipari's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere. I agree.
He's not retiring.
He's not retiring. He's not going. You're saying if he
question.
Did. Yeah.
It's a chat question.
That's an amazing chat question. I don't know who would go to Kentucky. Maybe it's the one job Jay Wright would go to, although I don't see it.
Here you go. You'll have about 8 minutes.
Wonderful.
Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM, Channel 84, presented by Bet Rivers, presented by Bracket Fanatics. Trace Jackson Davis goes for 29 points as the Indiana Hoosiers beat Wyoming in the NCAA Tournament. First four, Indiana advancing on the 66-58 win. So now IU will meet St. Mary's in a 5-12 encounter. All right. Many of us had Indiana winning this game. It's not a major shock. What'd you learn from the Hoosiers tonight, good or bad, as they move forward to the field of 64?
I think they're good at making teams uncomfortable. Like I haven't watched Indiana play a beautiful basketball game. I've watched a lot of Indiana the last 2 weeks between the Big Ten tournament and now today. Like I haven't sat back like, man, that was flowing. That was, great execution. But they do a good job just kind of mucking it up and getting teams out of their comfort zone. Hunter Maldonado is never comfortable in this game. And I think for Wyoming, it's so important for him to be in rhythm, for them to be in rhythm. And I thought they did the same thing to Illinois last week in the game that they won. They did a really good job in the second half with Dickinson. Dickinson never felt comfortable. He had a good first half, and then I thought they just kind of brought the intensity. I think the biggest thing for them is when they play with a high level intensity, they're just hard to play against. And, when you have Trace and you have XJ, and I think the guy who was really, really impactful today was Geronimo in the second half. I always liked the kid. He's 6'6", he's athletic. He can guard multiple positions, just kind of bring something different to the table for them. But he had a really nice ball game today. And again, he's not going to be someone who makes it a pretty basketball game. But this team is tough as nails, and that plays well in March.
Yeah, I think to touch off Kevin and just listening to Mike talk, I said I listened to him today on an interview. I think they're okay with mucking it up. I think they're okay with who they are. I think right now, and this is what this time of year is about in any sport, is confidence, playing well of late. They played in a game where everybody probably thought after the Rutgers game that they're going to go to Purdue and probably get beat double figures. If you're on Bet Rivers, you're probably taking that bet. Okay. But they go there and they play extremely well. And then they go to the Big Ten tournament when they had to deliver, and they played a terrific game against Illinois, a terrific game against Michigan, and then they lose to Iowa in a game that they had an opportunity to really close and win that game. They're confident, they're playing well, and I think they've got a swagger to them to where when you have a guy like Trace Jackson Davis who can deliver on the biggest stage and is a tough cover, I wouldn't be surprised to see them beat St. Mary's, like I touched on, and have a chance to get by UCLA or Akron.
This is Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM Channel 84. We want to welcome our audience in, all of you who just listened to Indiana beat Wyoming to advance out of the first four and into the Field of 64. Indiana will take on St. Mary's in now a 5-12 game on Thursday. All right. IU wins this game. Coach Prohm just said he feels like that they could beat St. Mary's. Here's what comes to mind when I look at St. Mary's. Look, St. Mary's ain't out athleting Indiana. And this is now a big test for Matthias Tass of Estonia, playing for St. Mary's, leading them in scoring and rebounding this year. This is a big, big test. He hasn't seen Trace Jackson Davis this season, a player
he saw
like
Drew
that.
Timme.
He saw Drew Timme. That's not Trace Jackson Davis.
Saw Chet Holmgren.
Not Trace Jackson Davis. You're telling me you'd rather have Drew Timme than Trace Jackson Davis?
Absolutely.
I disagree.
Wow.
I disagree with you.
Wow. Drew Timme was the National Player of the Year favorite coming into the season. He's an All-American.
Okay, that was then. This is now.
Drew Timme's the best post scorer in the sport.
I think St. Mary's would be more comfortable. What I'm saying is I think St. Mary's would be more comfortable playing Drew Timme because they know him. They've played him. Trace Jackson Davis offers a totally different dimension to the matchup. I'm talking of it as St. Mary's here. I'm looking at the matchup. The tournament's all about matchups.
Yeah, because you got to look at St. Mary's situation too.
They know
from coaching perspective. It's kind of like if you're in a league ever where you have double buys in conference tournaments, it's like, all right, we got to prepare for two teams. So their tape and practice time is a little bit split between Indiana, Wyoming. And now they have a 1-day true prep tomorrow, though they've probably touched base on both teams. Now tomorrow they got to go all in on Indiana. And like he's saying, when it's your first time seeing different coverages, different players, I think that does make a difference.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys can keep your argument going with Jackson Davis
Well,
and Timmy. I like
I
that.
just think it's unique. I don't think St. Mary's is accustomed to playing a player like Trace Jackson Davis. Now, here's the problem with Indiana. They don't have the efficiency offensively that St. Mary's possesses. They don't. St. Mary's is going to shoot the basketball better here, I think, regardless of who wins the game. They're probably just going to from the perimeter. Tommy Kuzi will lead that effort. The difference is Indiana able to get in transition? Can they get dribble penetration? I'm with you on the fact that if I had to pick at the end of the day and I'm looking at both players, yeah, I think with the rest of the country, I'm probably leaning Timmy. I'm talking from a matchup standpoint.
John, you can't flip right in the middle. 2 minutes ago, you got Trace Jackson Davis.
I told you in this matchup. That was my point.
I also will say this. The one thing that Toss has done a great job of for St. Mary's this year, and we talked about it right after they beat Gonzaga at the end of February, was he does a great job of just being physical with opposing bigs. I mean, he is such a big, lumbering body. And I saw it in now invitational early in the year when he was dealing with high major guys. I saw it obviously when they played against Gonzaga. Like he does a great job of just walling up and making it difficult. I think
a minute.
He should be able to do enough.
I'm looking back at the Associated Press All-America teams from today. Jackson Davis didn't get honored.
Trace didn't have Trace had an up and down year. This team was sweating the bubble like 2 weeks ago. I mean, Trace had some quiet games in February, man. He really did.
But I tell you what, as you look going ahead and going further, Trace Jackson Davis can make himself a lot of money these next couple of weeks.
Oh, yes, he can.
And you get 29 when you're the only game on TV, and now you're going to play in St. Mary's in 2 days, you get 29 again, they're going to look at you a lot different now. That's just how it works.
Man.
Hoosiers over the Gales.
You like Hoosiers over the Gales? Well, I go back and forth on that one. Here's my last question here with a minute to go because we only have a minute here. Your updated Final Four. Coach, go.
I still Zags, Arizona, Kansas, and Kentucky.
Yeah, Zags, Arizona, Kentucky, and Iowa.
Well, he still loves the Hawkeyes.
Yes, he does.
Big
yes,
Hawkeye.
He does. I'm going to go Zags. I've gone back and forth all day on this. Zags, Tennessee, Kansas, and Kentucky. There you go. Tennessee's my outlier team there, but that's all the time we have here on Field of 68 After Dark. We're back with you tomorrow night at 11 Eastern time to recap Rutgers Notre Dame, among other things. For Coach Prohm, for Kevin Sweeney, I'm John Fanta. Folks, the taste of the madness is there. We get the full swing in less than 36 hours. See you tomorrow.
And you're clear.
Look, I like the banter. I mean, I just think if I'm St. Mary's.
I agree with you. I'm looking at you're thinking length.
Yes.
Length, quicker to the ball.
Who's going to have a better NBA career?
I mean, neither. Trace wouldn't get drafted if the draft was tomorrow.
Okay, but I asked you a question. I didn't ask you who was getting drafted. Who do you think will end
up
if
neither guy's getting drafted, I don't think either guys have much of an NBA career.
Who do you think will have a better? Who would you bet on? You know the answer to this. You know the answer to this. Do not try to steer away from the question. Do not steer away from my question. I asked you a question. I expect an answer. What's your answer?
Okay, fine. If you had to take one from a professional standpoint, I would take Trace.
That's a win right there. Coach Prohm, that's a W, is it not?
No question. I just, because you look at Trace and you just, got versatility, got length, and he's a tough cover. True is too, but we talk about these guys like this all the time, and then some of those guys find their niche in the NBA and find their way.
You're telling me Jackson Davis isn't worth a flyer at some point? He's a freak of nature athletically.
Yeah, I think
he also can't shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's important. It's important, but I think some of the The measurables check out. The level of athleticism checks out. And look, you're right, Coach. This is the time to what did you guys? Here's an example here. Not to the same degree, but I got to tell you, my whole viewpoint of Jaime Jaquez changed in the NCAA tournament last year. At the start of the tournament, I thought, oh, he's a good player, role player. He's okay. Well, then during the NCAA tournament, my whole perception of him changed to a point that, we talk All-American when we talk about Jaime Jaquez on his best day. Do we not?
Yeah. No, you're 100%. I mean, Juzang, same thing. I mean, yes. I don't think people would talk about Juzang as an All-American without the Final Four. I mean, this is when stars are made, and this is when, a guy like Trace, and I give Trace a ton of credit. He was awesome at the Big Ten tournament. He had 24 against Michigan. He had 31 against Iowa, 31 and 10 in that game. He had 21 on 9 of 13 shoot against Kofi in Illinois. And that was kind of a big game for him because he has really struggled with Kofi in the past. Like, the thing with him is he has always struggled a little bit with size and guys who can match him physically, guys like Kofi, guys like Edie. And I'm not sure that Toss is quite there, but Toss is a big son of a gun. I mean, that guy is enormous. He's going to be physical with him. So I think it's going to be a fun matchup. And look, he has every ability to be a star in March and change the narrative. And look, if he brings Indiana to a Sweet 16, he already has a place in the Indiana record books. The biggest thing holding him back was, he has to do something in March, because this is that's a place where, you etch your name in the rafters in March, not November through February. And, right. If he can make a run, obviously they talk about national championships in Bloomington, but if he could take them to the Sweet 16 in year one under Mike Woodson, I think the narrative about him as a truly great Hoosier would start to take off.
Yeah, and the thing with Trace playing for Mike, and his NBA ties and being former NBA, I just think he'll have some opportunities there, that it presents itself. And then you look at the rosters now, you got 15 spots, you got a couple two ways to where, both of those guys are going to have great opportunities and great, wherever it is, they're both going to have great professional careers.
All right. Enough messing around right now. It's After Dark Afters. We're going to give America what they need to know. Because if I'm sitting right now in bed, I'm watching this show, I need to know some predictions here. So here's what we're going to do. We're picking every Thursday game right now, rapid fire. Baby. We're not Very getting rapid. Too deep. You're going rapid fire.
Very
right
rapid,
here.
Yes.
Okay? In the order here, Thursday afternoon, Coach Prohm will pick first. We'll get to the evening. There'll be a divider. Then Sweeney will pick first. Okay?
Cool.
Are we ready? We're ready for this? Here we go.
Let's do it.
Okay. At 12:15, Colorado State versus Michigan. Coach Prohm.
I like Michigan. I like Michigan to win it.
Wow.
I think Colorado State will have a chip on its shoulder. They're getting sent to Big Ten country to play this game. They're, the NCAA screwing around with their flights. They're having issues with this, issues with that. Nobody believes in that. I think Nico can kind of spin this as man, we're the 6th seed, but we're the underdogs here. And I think that's a powerful thing. I think Colorado State finds a way.
I agree with you. Give me the Rams. Give me Colorado State. Give me all the David Roddy. I think Colorado State is not going to get fazed by Michigan's physicality, and I don't think Michigan can make enough perimeter shots. I like Colorado State. Okay, at 12:40, South Dakota State versus Providence. Coach Prohm.
This is one of those games we talked about where I thought, hey, man, South Dakota, the way Goodman, always talking about Providence, some days he'll get you second guessing a little bit, with the lucky o-meter. But
yeah.
And then we started talking about the matchup the other night. I like Providence, man. I think it could be a good game. South Dakota State, obviously, a 3-point line, but I like Providence.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how South Dakota State gets enough stops. I know it would be a trendy upset pick, but it's not for me. I think Providence finds a way. I think, the other thing is they're just so hard to finish off. Providence wins games late. If this thing's close, I bet on the Friars, and I think it'll be close.
Yeah, everybody's talking about how many close games Providence plays, and they're using that as a negative. I think in the NCAA tournament, it could be a positive because they're battle-tested. They know what it takes. Here's the thing. South Dakota State is not good defensively. They allowed 104 to Alabama. They allowed 87 to a bad Washington team. They're more than capable of getting scored on. Providence can defend and will defend South Dakota State. You don't think Justin Manias heard about Baylor Shireman? Give me the Friars in this game. Let's keep it rolling in the afternoon. 1:45. Boise State and Memphis. Coach Prohm.
I'm still going to stay with Memphis. I just think that Penny's done a phenomenal job of getting this thing back headed in the right direction. You know, they faced some adversity early in the year, midway through the year. And you got to give him a lot of credit and his staff a lot of credit. I think they've done a terrific job. The older guys in the Memphis program have stepped up. And then Jalen Duren's been terrific.
I like Boise. I think there's a poise to this Boise team. You know, I know that Memphis, I've kind of waffled on this game. I think Memphis played great basketball, but there's a poise about this group. They're great in close games. And, you know, I think this is a 2-possession game with, 3 minutes to go. And we see who's a better finishing team. I'll bet on Leon and I'll bet on the Boise State Broncos.
Okay. Memphis, one of their bigger issues early in the season, the hype train. It spoke for itself. That hype train's firing back up. Abu Kijab and Boise State are waiting for the Tigers. That's a senior-laden crew that wins the Mountain West. This is a big game for the Mountain West. I like the Broncos. Okay. Baylor and Norfolk State. We don't have to spend much time on this one. We all like Baylor, correct?
Yes.
All right. Norfolk State, great story. Love their head coach, Robert Jones. Done a great job, but I like Baylor here. Okay. Tennessee and Longwood. Are we so on Tennessee here that does Longwood not have a chance in this game? I mean, I like Tennessee. Anybody with a thought?
The only thought on this is twofold. Unbelievable job, Tennessee, Rick Barnes, SEC tournament champions, phenomenal. Defense, rebounding is their identity. But if you'd have told anybody 5 years ago Longwood would be playing in the NCAA tournament
and not be a 16 seed.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
right.
And not be a 16 seed, double that down. And so incredible job there. Phenomenal.
All right.
I don't know if they're athletic enough, but yeah, I got the balls.
But with all that being said, we're going Tennessee.
All right.
Great work. Yes.
Big Ten tournament champions, Atlantic 10 tournament champions, Iowa, Richmond, 5-12 game. I actually really like this matchup by the committee. And I know that the spread, I think I saw the spread was over 10. I was a little bit surprised just because of Richmond's efficiency level on the offensive end of the floor. Jacob Gilliard. But obviously Iowa comes in scalding hot. Coach Prohm, where do you fall?
And this is a tough one for me.
Ooh.
But I'm going to take Iowa. They're just playing so well right now. I mean, they are playing so well. But if Richmond can control tempo, it'll be interesting. But I give me the Hawkeyes.
Okay.
Fran McCaffrey back in upstate New York. Give me the Hawkeyes.
There's something to be said there. Wings are happening with Fran here this weekend. All right. Gonzaga, Georgia State.
Just shocked Georgia State's a 16 seed, but
exactly.
They got hosed by the committee.
Yeah, that's
completely
ridiculous. Hosed. There's no reason they should be a 16 seed.
I don't understand that. Okay. Here's one of the more intriguing games of the day. All right. And I love the game time, by the way. This is 4:30. This is for the junkies, right? So this is for the person who just loves watching the whole day. And if you guys remember, one of my favorite games was Xavier and Kansas State, the one that went to triple overtime that never ended in the NCAA tournament. Gus Johnson on the call, double overtime, whatever it was.
Salt Lake,
right. That game was played late afternoon, and it went so long that the game ended. It was back when CBS only did the games, and you got regional action. Well, I grew up in Cleveland, so they played the Xavier game for us. The game went so long that when it ended, the local news, screw them. They just went straight to the 7:10 CBS game because they didn't have any time to even go to local news. I think this game could be wild. I really do. North Carolina, Marquette. Who you got?
I got Shaka. Give me Shaka.
Wow,
I just think they're gonna bounce back. I know they had a great stretch. They've been up and down as of late, but I just think they have star power in Justin Lewis that he can get going and Shaka's teams defend. I like Marquette. I like Marquette to win this game for sure.
I have to be aware of Fanta's wrath here because I'm picking against the Big East. I think North Carolina is playing a little bit better basketball right now. I think they're talented enough, and I'm just not sure there's an answer on the inside for Baycott. I think North Carolina wins this game.
I think North Carolina is going to win this basketball game.
Wow. Against his own conference.
Well, I don't look, you got to tell it like it is. I'm on the field of 68. Obviously I cover the Big East. That's my coverage footprint, but I cover college basketball for the field of 68. I think Marquette has struggled down the stretch this season. And North Carolina comes into the NCAAs playing better basketball. I like Armando Baycott to really rule the post potentially. And I think Caleb Love's ability to create dribble penetration ends up making a big difference in this game. Marquette on the offensive end of the floor right now is struggling to find consistent quality looks. Good season for them. This is a tough draw because I think North Carolina on their best day is closer to like a 4 or a 5 seed on their best day than they are in the 8-9 predicament, which is what the 8-9 is. So I'm going to go with UNC in this game. All right, now Kevin goes for 650, Buffalo, UConn, New Mexico State.
Man, I just think that it'll be really challenging. I think these two teams want to play similarly, like be really physical, athletic. I think it's challenging when you're the mid-major trying to do the same things the high major's doing.
Agreed.
I think UConn's just a little bit better at the same spots. I think UConn finds a way.
Coach?
Yeah, I just so Doster will invite me back. I think I'm supposed to be on Saturday again. And so give me Calhoun, Hurley, Ray Allen, and the Huskies.
Tyrese Martin's going to pick up Teddy Allen in this game. That's my star watch on the floor in this game. New Mexico State has had a nice year. I think Coach Jans has done a very good job with that group this year, but I just can't see it. I don't think that New Mexico State's getting this done. What you have?
What's your record when you're in the? What's UConn's record when you're in the building, Fanta? I need this number for my picks.
Well, they beat Villanova at the XL Center. I was at that game.
Okay.
But I called them against Creighton. They lost that game. At Villanova, they lost that game. It's not good.
You were there at the Big East tournament when they lost eventually.
When they lost to Villanova, yeah, but that wasn't a shock. I mean,
not great. This is making me think maybe New Mexico State. I mean, this is
last time they're in the tournament. Didn't they play Auburn really close?
They did.
New Mexico, yes they did. They
had the free throws to tie. They missed it, and they had the rebound and missed the wide open three for the win.
I don't think they've won a tournament game.
They're always so close.
They've been close.
Maybe this is the year. Okay. Kentucky, St. Peter's, 7-10. Swain.
Kentucky.
Yeah, no question here. I mean, look, here's the thing. St. Peter's, it's amazing that they're in the NCAA tournament. Casey Ndefo is a superstar of a talent. Kid's a stud. He defends his ass off. St. Peter's has had a really, really good season. And to win the MAC, look, I don't care how you do it. Rick Pitino got bounced early in that tournament. They find a way to win it. They take advantage. But I think Kentucky will pull away in this game and win this game. Right, Coach?
Yeah, I'm not going to go on that long on why Kentucky will win. I'll just Kentucky.
All right, St. Mary's and Indiana. Sweeney.
I'm taking Indiana. I'm rolling with Coach here. I think Indiana finds a way.
Wow.
The Hoosiers. The Hoosiers. The Hoosiers.
Oh, man. I think Randy Bennett's a better coach than Mike Woodson. I think Indiana's got better athletes than St. Mary's. I got Tommy Kuzi and St. Mary's moving on. I'm taking the Gales here. I'll probably pay for it on this show next week. I cannot wait to revisit these picks because we don't make a ton of picks on this show, but we have to for the tournament. Cannot wait. All last night, Ashton Gibbs was picking Jersey teams and Northeast teams, and Randolph Childress let him hear it all night long. All right, 8-9 game, Creighton and San Diego State. This is down in Fort Worth. Interesting game, Kevin, because these two teams do a lot of similar stuff.
Yeah, I mean, especially without Nembhard, both teams kind of need to muck it up. It's not going to be pretty. I think I lean towards San Diego State. I just think that without a point guard, it's going to be really tricky for Creighton to navigate scoring against the second best defense in the country per Ken Pom. San Diego State finds a way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Creighton obviously has played really well, make the championship in the Big East tournament, but I like San Diego State just because of their defensive mindset and their ability to give Creighton some problems with that.
Yeah, their ability to defend at a high level, and this is where for Creighton, they've been so up and down from the perimeter. They're going to have to hit 3-point shots to win this game. They were 3 for 29 from 3 against Villanova. That's just not. It's not going to cut it. San Diego State's had Creighton's number in the tournament, so the lean's on the Aztecs. We'll see if this young Creighton team can overcome that. Interesting,
and they're expecting to win. Like San Diego State,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
they're tournament experienced. I mean, they're expected to win.
All right, I'm interested to hear these picks. Arkansas and Vermont.
Man,
do it.
I want to pick Vermont. I really do.
Come on.
I don't think they can match up athletically.
I'm with you.
I just think Arkansas can I think, Muss's defense, they like to deny, and kind of force you out of your comfort zone offensively. I just think it'll be really challenging for Vermont to get done what they like to do offensively. I think Arkansas finds a way.
We got to have one upset in the bunch. Like, we can't go through and not pick any upsets, right?
That's true.
And you've seen Vermont do it. They're a program that's done it before. And they are, I saw a tweet today about, they're only Buffalo's 7 hours away from Vermont. Give me Vermont and see if we can have a replay from whenever they beat Syracuse that year. That was a hell of a game.
2005, I believe.
Yeah, Sorensen from the parking lot. Guess what? I've been on Arkansas all week. Coach Prohm, can I hop in seat 2 on your bus?
Jump on there, man. You can drive. You drive or I'll drive. You tell me which seat you want.
Coach Prohm, we want the bus to stay on the road. I am not driving. I will take Vermont. Give me Ryan Davis. He's my kind of player. I think he's 6'8", 250. I love that. Love that about him.
John, you must be having one of them good bottles of wine is why you can't direct the bus.
Coach, I'm not going to drive under the influence here, but I mean, let's not advocate for that. But
no. I'm saying you want somebody else to drive so you can sit in the back.
Absolutely,
and
Coach.
And have you a little Merlot.
Coach, me having a bottle of wine driving would be better than sober driving.
Yeah. We'll make Dagan drive.
Oh, he's a good driver. He once drove. I mean, he's driven.
I'll drive. Let's do it.
Yeah, he's driven a white van across the country.
that is true. That sounds a little weird. That sounds a little weird.
Yeah, no context, Dagan.
That sounds a little weird.
Dagan.
Unmarked.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Dagan, I don't know about you. You have a name that's very suspicious. You do.
Hey, John, here's a trivia question. Is there any nickname that you don't know out of these 32 teams playing on Thursday?
Oh, good question. Okay, let's do it. Michigan Wolverines, Colorado State Rams, South Dakota State Jackrabbits, Providence Friars, Memphis Tigers, Boise State Broncos, Norfolk State Spartans.
That's correct. Yeah.
Spartans.
Yep,
Baylor
Spartans.
Bears, Longwood Lancers.
That is correct as well.
Tennessee Volunteers, Richmond Spiders, Iowa Hawkeyes, Georgia State Panthers.
That's correct.
Gonzaga Bulldogs. See, a lot of people go Gonzaga Zags. That's wrong. Marquette Golden Eagles, North Carolina Tar Heels, New Mexico State Aggies, UConn Huskies, St. Peter's Peacocks, strut your pride, Kentucky Wildcats, Indiana Hoosiers, St. Mary's Gales, Creighton Blue Jays, San Diego State Aztecs, Vermont Catamounts, Arkansas Razorbacks, San Francisco Dons, Murray State Racers, Akron Zips, UCLA Bruins, Kansas Jayhawks.
He doesn't know Texas Southern.
Oh
no.
Oh, it's so easy, too.
Oh, man.
31 for 31, and he's going to miss it.
Is it the Texas Southern? Oh, no, I know it. Because I heard it. I heard it tonight. It's not the Islanders. It's the Tigers.
The Tigers. Thank you.
No. 32 for 32.
I love it.
I love giving himself like the goal celebration call. What an incredible thing that was.
Oh, phenomenal.
Vermont is the Catamounts, huh?
That is correct.
Yep. So you like Vermont? I like Vermont.
Give me Arkansas.
That made me think of that because I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, what is Vermont's nickname?
All right. Murray State versus San Francisco.
I think Coach is going to shoot me here, but
I'm
leaning
God.
San Francisco.
Oh,
I just am. I think Bouye is the best player on the floor. I think it's going to be. It might be the game of the first. It might be the best game of the day. I really think it will be. Maybe people won't watch it because it's the mid-major game, mid-major versus mid-major. But I think Bouye is the best player on the floor, and that's what matters.
Okay. I mean, Coach, we know. Go ahead.
I think I'm on the kill list now.
Tell Kevin why.
No, I get it. I mean, I think I like it because they've got their podcast. They're taping this. They're going to put in their locker room that Kevin Sweeney said, "Go Dons," and the Racers are going to win another tournament game and continue on for an amazing decade that program's had. And go Racers and McMahon and Tevin Brown and KJ Williams and Juice Hill and the beat goes on for everybody wants in the Bluegrass State, Kentucky, Murray State, and Indianapolis, Saturday, prime time.
Okay.
That would be amazing.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Here's one thing I looked at. I was looking at San Francisco and the analytics approach that they have. So they simplify things quite a bit. They average about 9 threes per game, and they only give up just under 6. For me, Murray State, this is where you can't let Bouye be the best player on the floor. And they've got the candidates. I mean, Tevin Brown can do that on a given night. There's no question about it. Hill can be that guy for them. And they're going to need, like we heard Coach McMahon say this earlier this season. KJ Williams is going to have to control what's happening from 15 feet and within. If KJ Williams is getting handled, then San Francisco, with their efficiency level, with their ability to limit the perimeter, it's going to be a hard game. But I think this is going to be a 1 or 2 possession game that goes right down to the end. I am on Coach Prohm's bus. I'm riding it right now. I'm going to ride the Racers to a win. I was on San Francisco earlier tonight. You convinced me otherwise.
Can we get from Buffalo to Indianapolis in time to catch both games for the Vermont win and the Racer win?
I wish. I'm going from Buffalo to Pittsburgh.
Man, are you Goodman's chauffeur? Like, what's the
No. So let's talk. I think we have. Hold on. We're going to get to that to close. UCLA Akron. Does anybody think the Zip going to win?
No, they don't have the size.
All right, and then obviously we all have Kansas over Texas Southern. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm gonna give you that story here, and then Dagan, we will wrap. I said we'd be done by now. We aren't. So Goodman calls me last night, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to Buffalo and Talia's coming, so we'll eat wings tomorrow night. Games are Thursday. Great. He's like, and then you come to Pittsburgh. I'm like, no. I'm not shipping it off. And he goes, yeah, we're going to stay in Erie.
Jesus.
Do you guys know Netflix? Have you ever seen the one documentary?
I don't know
Netflix.
Dagan knows exactly.
I know exactly where he's going with this.
Dagan knows exactly where I go. I cannot stay in Erie. Okay. You know why? Evil Genius on Netflix. The what was it? The pizza bomber or the McDonald's thing. It was the pizza. It was pizza. Pizza. It was a pizza bomber.
Yeah.
I can't stay in Erie after that. It's a weird zone. Goodman fits in perfectly there. We need him to hit the Erie McDonald's. He'll be like the star of the town. I can't. I could spend one day in Pittsburgh. Sunday's the day for the second round games. I can't spend 2 days with terrible towels as a Cleveland Browns fan. I can't do it. Cannot do it. So Buffalo, circling the wagons for a couple days, and then to Pittsburgh on Sunday. But Goodman is, I think he wanted me to chauffeur.
Of course he did.
As a Browns fan, who's going to be your quarterback next year?
Oh, Coach, we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time.
I don't need to go to bed just yet. I mean, I think we could do a little round table between you. We were doing it before the show, so might as well just.
You're the only one with the 5 a.m. flight. I just have 6:30 wake up for school and.
Oh, don't worry. I just got an email from United. Okay, here we go. The madness is underway here. Thanks to United Airlines. Listen to this one. The flight from Newark to Buffalo. Flying out of Newark in the morning. The flight is delayed because your crew arrived later than scheduled and has not had sufficient off-duty rest time, which is required by federal law. So the flight's now going to depart at 8:15, which is like a 45-minute delay. Now, look, I don't want my pilots tired, but what on earth is that alert right now?
I mean,
come on.
I'll say that I wouldn't hate that. 45 extra minutes of sleep. You'll still get to Buffalo in time.
Yeah, and it's just 8:15 flight. How far of a drive is that from Newark to Buffalo?
Oh, 6 hours, Coach.
That's a hike.
Oh, it is.
Coach,
Okay.
Six
New York
hours.
is a surprisingly large state. Like no one has any idea how large New York is. Like it's super wide. It really sprawled.
But it's direct flight, right? Obviously.
Direct flight, hour-long flight, hour and change, 6 hour drive. I did it. That's a lot of middle of nowhere, nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Where should I go in Buffalo? What do you guys think?
Anchor Bar, baby. Always.
Rich Stadium?
Banker Bar?
Anchor Bar.
Anchor Bar.
It's where it's the best wings. It's the wing spot.
Is that where Goodman went tonight? Those wings look good, he tweeted.
I don't know where Goodman was. But
he looked like he had 18 wings on the table and a big blue moon. And let's just tell.
Well, he had 18 on each side. He had looked like it was 18 hot and 18 teriyaki.
Oh yeah.
You know, all drumettes. It looked like.
And let's just call a spade a spade. Him in the group text tonight. The blue moon is hidden. The moon is blue tonight.
Oh, I told you, man. I said, hey, are we going to talk NIT at all tonight? And he goes, F no. And I told you guys off air. I said, could you imagine if he was the head coach and you lost a recruit? Holy smokes. What would get that meeting the next day? Lordy jeez.
Just a reminder, Dagan's the boss around here.
That's right. I want everybody to know
Dagan runs the field of 68.
That's right.
Oh my God.
These other two, they don't got nothing on me.
Who's on later tonight, Dagan? Who's doing the Wednesday night edition of this show? Do we know?
I'm going to be honest. I don't have
You have no idea.
I don't have the schedule pulled up. I'll let everybody know tomorrow. Just wait for the tweet, everybody.
Yeah, right.
Stay tuned to tweet.
Who do we like? Wait, briefly. Rutgers.
So, John, you're not going to talk about the Browns situation?
Okay, I'll wrap with this. The relationship between the Cleveland Browns and Baker Mayfield appears to be beyond repair. We have a quarterback sending an iPhone notes tweet stating that he thanks the city of Cleveland for their love and support, and whatever happens, and this isn't meant as shade or whatnot. Here's the fact of the matter. The Cleveland Browns are not hopping on a flight to Houston, Texas to meet with Deshaun Watson. We could talk until the sun rises about that whole situation. 22 women are not lying, and that's a very serious situation. I do not want Deshaun Watson as my quarterback, but needless to say, you're not getting on a flight to Houston to meet with Deshaun Watson unless you don't feel that number 6 is not the answer anymore. And the fact is the Cleveland Browns do not believe Baker Mayfield's the answer anymore, or else they wouldn't be in Houston right now. So it's ridiculous. It's sad. This team won a playoff game in 2021. They won a playoff game in 2021. It's hard to believe they did because they continue to not be able to get out of their own way. I'm pissed off tonight as a Browns.
Dagan might have to cut the mics.
I have one question though. Going with that, I want your thoughts on how he signed off with the middle name, all that. What's going on?
He signed the note Baker Reagan Mayfield.
Will he end up in Washington?
Yeah, just where he belongs with the Commanders. With the Commanders, who that'll never get used to Commanders. I'm okay with Washington football team.
I'm having more trouble with Guardians than Commanders.
Oh, Kevin, please don't tonight.
And they didn't even.
I was just setting you up. See what we could get.
Yeah, that was easy. That was too easy.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm all for. This is a whole different issue here. I'm all for making the names what they need to be made. It's the right thing to do. I get it. If it offends anybody, it shouldn't be the name of the team. Absolutely. Life's too short to offend people. So if you're offended, I get it. I get it. That being said, Guardians, God, that was the choice. That was what you went with. I'm upset about that too. We just might, Dagan, we might need to do an airing of grievances at the end of the year, where I could just do an hour of what really grinds my gears. Because
can I talk about
that's going to be longer than an hour.
The post Joe Theismann era.
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah, you're right, Dagan. It'll be post Joe Theismann era. How's that treated you? Not good.
One or two memories. Doug Williams and Mark Rippon had two great years, and then it's been tough for the last 30.
Who do you root for, Sweeney?
I'm a New York Football Giants fan.
Doesn't
Baby.
get much better.
My God,
Doesn't get any better.
That's horrendous.
That's right. The producer's an Eagles fan, so it's
right.
We're 4 for 4.
This is why we need college basketball in our lives. This is why when people are like, football season's over in week 5, it's like just in time for college hoops, baby. Let's go. I'm so excited for I'm actually very excited for later tonight. I think Rutgers Notre Dame will be a better game than Indiana-Wyoming. Indiana-Wyoming was competitive, but it wasn't a great basketball game.
Did either of them beat Alabama?
Which Alabama we getting?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know which team that is.
And anyone can beat Alabama, and Alabama can beat anyone.
Alabama's the team with the most. I would bet you right now that if you looked at bracket variance, Alabama might be the team that people have most could make. I'm sure there's got to be people. There's so many combinations. Alabama's a team that some people have in their Final Four, and some people have losing on Friday. The most.
Yeah, the one thing I like about Alabama, okay, is if they match up with Texas Tech in the second round.
Yes.
They played Baylor earlier in the year.
Yep.
They beat Baylor, and they scored against Baylor. And so they understand how to attack the no-middle switching defense. And in a one-day prep, that is enormous to have that in their back pocket.
Do not be surprised if Montana State hangs around with Texas Tech.
You love yourself some Montana State Bobcats.
You were on the Bobcats, man.
When the moment the draw came out. I like their backcourt. They could score the ball. Texas Tech is a weird team. And you're right, Prohm. The one thing I like about Bama's draw is Texas Tech might be the 3 seed that I kind of get the most wishy-washy about, right? Right? Look at the
Alabama's
threes.
not going to be a tough out now. I mean, as much as you can think you can beat them, they're not going to be a tough out either.
Right. Name me the other threes. Tennessee, Wisconsin.
Well, they got Colgate. I mean, Colgate played Arkansas really well last year.
That's going to be a slow-paced game.
Yeah, and the style of play Wisconsin plays, I don't, can they get up 20, 25? That's an interesting bracket, that bottom half bracket. LSU, Iowa State. I mean, I think that could go either way. That little Wisconsin, Colgate, Iowa State, LSU pocket is interesting. You could have a sleeper team come out of there. And then the bottom half, how good is Miami? Southern Cal, can either of them really play against Auburn, or does it end just being an Auburn-Kansas regional final?
All right, let's go to bed, yeah?
Good night, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you later tonight.
Dagan
For Kevin Sweeney, Coach Prohm, I'm John Fanta. See ya.